Hey, thanks for tuning into a new episode of TrolloVision, uh, Trollosphy. Wanted to thank you for those who have viewed the previous video. It's currently the most viewed video on the channel right now, at over 30 views. That's nothing, really, to tell you the truth. I want to thank you for your support and continue watching TrolloVision. As you may notice, we're expanding into other social media, and hopefully our videos will get noticed here. I got another question from Facebook. It's from a friend of mine, Lawrence S. He wanted to ask, why is it that people are moving away from extreme political views and considering more single issues? Well, Lawrence, that's a very good question. It seems to me that either political party is really just rehashing the same stuff, maybe only a slight differential, and it's no one's really satisfied with the work that the politicians are doing. Um, let's look at an issue where it seems like no party is siding on an issue or whatnot. And censorship is one of those areas that's a good example of how neither party is really on a specific side. Let's turn the clock back to the 80s. Perhaps some of you may know what the Filthy 15 are, or the issues of censoring rock music in the 80s and whatnot. Now, as many of you know, the 80s it's the Reagan era, and going beyond the notion of it being just the Reagan era, the many of the liberals and the Democrats in the area are pretty guilty of being like anti-free speech, as we'll say it. Let's look at Tipper Gore and some of the other senators' wives, if you will, who was really on the forefront of censorship. Um, what we have is someone who was like afraid of young people and wanting to control or oppress young people. The Filthy 15 was just one of those things that was that way. Um, but you need to keep in mind that it wasn't just one political party that did that. Um, it was both. Both parties were kind of, guilty of supporting this. One felt like, it was going against Christian values, and the other thought that, oh, hey, it's going to mess with people's minds, turn them into psychopaths, go on homicidal rampages every day, you know. And this it's like clockwork. It's like there's some form of media that happened to comic books. It's happened to rock and roll music repeatedly. It's happening to video games right now, where at least for the most part, it seems like it was happening to that. There've been a substantial victory over that. Um, Now let's look into SOPA, for example. SOPA is a good example. Out there, I actually came across a link that showed who supported what. Now you might think that the people that would be supporting that would tend to be your more right wing, but the truth is that's not the case. SOPA was something that was like prided by and focused on Hollywood, for example. And as you all know, Hollywood's very, very liberal. And the fact that, you know, a party that claims to be, or a group of people that claims to be like wanting to support your rights, it's just a load of crap, to be honest. Instead, they're making you play by their rules. And when you look on there, you'll notice there's some really strange bedfellows on the issue. You know, it's rare to see someone like Michelle Bachmann, Nancy Pelosi, and like Ron Paul together fighting against SOPA. I mean, Now, I think I could see that, Nancy Pelosi probably has a duty to her constituents that have a high stake in Silicon Valley. And as you may know, Silicon Valley is something that would have lots of stake for people that live in her district. And Silicon Valley would obviously be against SOPA because it's anti-technology, really, to tell you the truth. Um, those are just a couple areas where it seems like both sides mixed together are just kind of like, trying to screw you over. Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, can you really trust your politician who's representing you right now? I don't really think so. Um, let's move on to education real briefly. This is something that I find interesting too. Um, you'll notice that it seems like the youth are never really favored by politicians, regardless of each side. For example, education is something that always gets huge cuts. You never hear anybody wanting to try and cut, Social Security or, benefits for old people. They always want to cut it from education instead. It's something that Jerry Brown said that he wanted to do as certain tax initiatives didn't get implemented. Now, as far as stuff that affects your education, there's some things that you really should consider, you know, getting mad about. You gotta ask yourself, illegal immigration is an issue that people from both parties usually are strong against, unless you have family that are illegal immigrants, and there are reasons that people on both sides of the party lines are going to want or not want illegal immigration. And going back to education, the so-called Dream Act is something that's going to, raise the crap out of your tuition. I mean, I really doubt that anybody crossing the border is crossing the border so they can attend a California State University. I really do doubt that, or at least right away. That's just something to really consider. Or let's talk about other stuff like drinking laws. Now, it's understandable. You should be an adult before you should drink, but there's this gap between the age of 18 and 21 where, or between the ages of 18 and 21 where you're an adult, but you don't have all the adult benefits. For example, once you're 18, you can join the military, do porn, or smoke cigarettes, or buy lotto tickets, right? But you can't drink alcohol, and arguably, I think smoking's probably worse than the alcohol. It certainly seems like it would be more addictive. Um, but that was something that was implemented as sort of a way of trying to appropriate federal funds. You're allowed to set your drinking age per state, but you weren't going to get federal road funds if you didn't have the age at 21. So I mean, that's just something to consider, really. I mean, you could fight in a war, lose a limb or something like that, but you can't go drinking. It's just baffling. Um, you know, in the end, it's like being young, even being a young adult, you feel like you're part of the most, you know, oppressed group of people. Yeah, in the end, it doesn't matter what political side it is. One way or another, your your rights are going to be controlled, and it's really something to consider about coming into this next election. Um, are you just going to follow party lines? Are you going to consider voting for a third party candidate? That's something to think about. Um, in the end, it's you don't want to just be some blind follower, because either way they're gonna try and do what they can to make you conform, you know. Anyways, I think I've demonstrated the point here. It's that that neither side of the political spectrum is really consistent. That they're almost supporting the same thing. You know, it's something that if you really sit down and think about, you could spend hours talking about stuff like what Marx said or what Adam Smith said. These seem to be, you know, representative of the two different branches in some ways, but in actuality, they're actually closer than you think in some regards. Um, Anyways, I'm gonna conclude the video. If you like the video, thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you like us, just subscribe. Join us on Facebook. Join us on Twitter. Take a look at our Tumblr. We're probably gonna have a blogspot page come up here real soon. So thanks for watching.